Okay. Okay, so they have just went live as well. They're doing some audio check on their end. In the meantime, I'm going to... my chat is not set up correctly. So right now they're asking the viewers how is the audio balance. And in the meantime, I'm going to go onto my own channel and fix my my chat, because I'm a bit of an can you guys hear me all right? Let's see. Whoops. Okay, Straylight says that PB Roman says yes. Okay, so looks like the audio is fine at least. So right now Nakai-san explaining that on this stream they thought they would more personally tell us about the details of this new system. And they're gonna show us an actual example as well. I've just replaced the chat link with the correct link on my broadcast, so you should be seeing the correct YouTube chat on the right side of my stream now. So for this on this subject, normally he thinks that most people would love to hear the details from Fujita-san, who is the director for the game. But because we are close to 3rd anniversary, and so Fujita-san has a bunch of things to do, so he unfortunately cannot take time to come and attend today's stream, because today and tomorrow especially they're working hard on the 3rd anniversary patch. So this time we will just be hearing from Masaruto-san on the left here, and Nakai-san, the operations producer for the game. And of course, if there's anything that they don't know the answer to, they'll just give Fujita-san a call. Also, prior to a stream for about 2 days, they actually on Twitter they had a Google form for people to submit questions about this new system, and actually for that I wanted to post it early on Reddit as well, so that I could get some questions from you guys to submit to them, but unfortunately due to some stuff I wasn't able to post it last night. But they received overall about 200 questions from the players in JP. There are things that tonight they will not be So later on, when we see the example that they gave us, right, it's actually based on a development build, so it'll be different from what we actually see. Sorry if the typing was a little bit loud, because I had to change the link to my live stream. So here is the example that they have prepared for us beforehand. Yes, the first batch of units have been confirmed. I'll talk about this a little bit later, because we started a bit too late today. I'll just quickly show. They actually made an announcement already, just before the start of the stream. This is the... So Nakai-san wants us to forget about the brave and faith part here. And all this... So basically this is a development build, so that's why you see all these weird... This is not an actual build, obviously, but it is a development build. But they're using this to show us how it works. So for this example, they are going to use, it's going to be based on MR mont, and this will be the flow of the system. Depending on the rarity of the unit, there will be some changes to some of the things in the flow, and later on they'll explain this through words. They'll tell us what is the part that is different. But for the most part, to begin the process, you need to have level 120 for a unit. And all the jobs have been fully unlocked and everything. You have to have all these done first in order to even start with the system. So once you have level 120, it will require 60 mind spears, a single piece of the antler, the new item, so they just announced this in the announcement, but there will be different versions of rarities like SSR, which is MR, and UR, and other rarities as well. And then, similarly, you will also need these orbs. Again, the version needed will depend on the rarity. And finally, you need the, I forgot what is this called in global. So for MR units, you will need 60 mind spears, a single antler, and 10 of these orbs here, and 5 of these limit breaking things. I forgot what it's called. Nakai-san just said that because he's being quite careful with the operations here, not wanting to accidentally show something he shouldn't, he's not reading the chat for the JP stream. So for the antler, regardless of rarity, you will always need just a single piece of antler whenever you want to unlock the dream enhancement for a unit, regardless of rarity. As for mind spears, for the mind spears, they'll go into this in more detail later, but you can use the replacement mind spears. Or you can use the character's mind spears as well. It's up to you. You can choose which one you want to use to unlock. So basically, it just gave a long-winded explanation that, for the most part, you will need to use only the characters of mind spears for this system, other than the example of if you were to use the replacement mind spears. Basically, you can't use, for example, normal Helena's mind spears here unless you do the conversion into the special mind spears. So here we go. You can choose between either the unit's mind spears or the generic version, which you have to trade for. So they're gonna go with the... So once you unlock it, this is what you will see upon unlocking the system. You get EX level 1, and the maximum level for the unit will become from level 120 to level 140. So at EX level 1, the level is 121. So the moment you do this and unlock this, it's at level 121. And then within the system, you can go up to 20 levels. And when you get to level EX level 20, that's when you get the maximum 140. So this part is the interesting part that he will explain a bit. So the moment you unlock the system, you will get some passives that will be unlocked with the unit. So these are bestowed passives that you will get the moment you unlock Dream Enhancement for a unit. In MR1's case, it's missile resistance up, all elemental resistance up, and then the third one is a replacement for his move Drain Killer. So Saruto-san is asking him if this are determined by character or is it random? And Nakai-san just replied, the passives that you get for each unit is determined by the unit itself. So these are not random. These are always the same, depending on the unit you are choosing to unlock. So in general, for tank units like Mont, the bestowed passives that you'll get here will be based on, things that will be beneficial for a tank unit. And the same goes for magic attackers. They will basically try and give passives and things to each unit based on their role. And Nakai-san mentioned that this is important. What Assalto-san just said is important. That, depending on the role of the character, that all these things will change. That's something that he wants everyone to note. He'll talk about it again later as well. So once you unlock it, your EXP level up button will change to Mugen Kyoka, the Dream Enhancement button. And when you click on that, this is the screen you will now see. And this is the screen that was previously shown on the 3rd anniversary broadcast as well. The example screenshot. So as you can see, over there on the right hand side, you see these are the absolute limits that you can reach for this system. So over here on the right hand side, you see yellow star. You can still get 3 yellow stars right now. Is what is written over here. So the yellow star thing will be quite important. So at the beginning, of course, you have EX level 1 out of 20, and the number of reincarnations 0 is what is written over here. So earlier, when MR Mon received the system, the passives that he received, missile resistance up, and all that is all written here, and the exact numbers are written here as well. Now, Assaulto-san is asking, there is a question from chat. Earlier, we saw that on the screen, it says replace Drain Killer. What does that actually mean? And Nakai-san says he'll explain that in a bit. For starters, just know that when you come to this screen, it will be written down on the left-hand corner that, these are the passives you get upon unlocking the system and what is the amount you get. So the important things to note is that on the left-hand side, there is a reincarnation button. You can do this anytime, by the way. So just be careful not to hit the reincarnation button at level 1. You can do it anytime, but obviously you don't want to do it at EX level 1. And then on the right hand side is the strengthen button, and you will need these statues and EXP cubes to increase your EX level, as well as JP, of course. So you need 3 things to level up your EX level: statues and EXP cubes and JP points. So the amount required for the EX level up, right, will be generally lower than the amount required to upgrade your EX abilities. So in this example, they just raised the EX level from 1 to 2, and we see that the missile resistance up has been increased from 7 to 8. So basically all of these things here will be increased as you level up your EX level. And if you look at the stats, we get +1 AP, +1 ATK, +45 HP. This part here is random. Look at the yellow part here. The yellow part is the part that's increased. So for MR Mont, obviously, although we get a +1 in ATK, of course you want the HP to increase. So the part you see here, right, will change depending on the unit itself. So for example, for a tank, you get a higher HP. But if it's attacker, then obviously they'll get higher ATK. Or if it's a magic attacker, then they'll get higher magic attack, MAG. But for the most part, all units will basically be able to increase their HP as a general similarity among all characters. Level 3, missile resistance increase again. And this time ATK plus 2. So as you can see, the level is 123. Skyfire says every reincarnation you should only reincarnate again after getting 3 yellow stars. Correct, exactly. That's exactly right. So I think depending on what you've heard about the system, some people don't realize that in order to get the green base stats, right, you actually need the yellow stars. Only after you get the yellow stars, then the yellow stars get converted into green stars. So there's no point in hitting reincarnation if you don't get the maximum number of yellow stars. As QWERTY asks, exchange rate 20:1. They haven't dived into that yet, but previously they did mention that it will be less than 10:1. So he says, in a way, this is like the enhancement for equipment. It's that kind of pacing. So you're gonna go faster a bit now. So the required resources you need, the JP part will increase more as you level up, and then these requirements will increase as well, but it won't be as fast as the JP. And there you go. Finally, level 6 to 7. Finally, you get a star. And we've received 1 yellow star in dexterity. Although interestingly, we do not actually see any stat increases in dexterity itself. Only the yellow star. So even though the dexterity has not increased at all, we do get a yellow star in dexterity. And over here you see, you can still get 2 more yellow stars in this EX level thing, in this phase of Dream Enhancement. So, important part is to remember is that this is a yellow star and these are yellow stats. So he's going to level up some more. We are trying to get 2 more yellow stars. So basically, if I'm getting what he's trying to explain here, right? Oh, there we go, we get a 2nd yellow star. So every single time when you do the level enhancement, right, all the yellows, if you're planning to reincarnate, all the yellow stats don't matter. It's only the stars that are important. So Nakai-san just said, so this kind of boost is kind of similar to Trust Stones, basically. Skyfire says the RNG of the yellow star and stats. So for these items, you can get it through daily quests, obviously. There we go, at EX level 11, we see the passives are quite high already. So I think the most important part is what happens when you reincarnate. What materials are actually required. What the yellow stars do, Bagundo just asked in my chat. So the yellow stars are the stars that you can convert into green stars, which will give a permanent stat increase in the stats. So they'll show us in just a bit. Because though the yellow stars only come into play when you decide to reincarnate. So Ryan says EXP cubes will be scarce, yeah. Yeah, for sure you will need a lot of EXP cubes. So now he's at EX level 16. More passive level increase. So, and then at level 16 to 17, that's when the statue requirement will be increased by 1. So whether or not stars will appear is completely random. There are cases where in the beginning of the level part, in the early phase of leveling up, you get the stars really quickly. There are cases like that as well. So what we see here is just a case of Nakai-san having really bad luck. That, you know, even though he's at EX level 16, he's only still got 2 yellow stars. So EX, roughly EX level 17, the requirement JP is at 1260. And finally, at EX level 18, he got his 3rd yellow star. So he received 2 yellow stars in critical evasion and 1 yellow star from dexterity. Now again, the stars have no correlation to the stats that you roll for. So you can use reincarnation at any time, but obviously you want to do it when you only have 3 stars. He'll explain the use of the reincarnation button in just a bit. So although reincarnation can be done at any time, for the most part it will be better. Nakai-san says that it's recommended to go up as far to level 20 as possible. I wonder if this means there may be some kind of bonus for reaching max level. But anyway, for MR Mont, the maximum amount you can get is 30 missile resistance, all elemental resistance 10, and of course the Drain Killer passive. So this is the biggest level. And the maximum amount of stats that we were able to get this time around is, as you can see here. Now take a look at the green numbers here. The green numbers are all 0 now, but you'll see these green numbers again in just a bit. And then for the stars, the yellow stars, we have 1 in dexterity and 2 in critical evasion. And the level is at level 140. So these are the current stats for Mont, MR Mont. So these numbers will not be part of the base stat numbers. It will only be part of the total amount. In other words, you should see these, what do you call it, the dream enhancement stats as the same as job enhancement stats on the job ability board, but they are not treated as the base stats. And it's important because for base stats that is the number that, you know, all your VC stats and all that stuff are improved from. Again, with the 30 missile resistance, it's not part of the base numbers, but rather the total numbers. So in other words, for units that have the system and that you go through this system with, right, the base stats for that unit still does not change. Ryan says the takeaway for this feature is the passive, not the stats. Correct. So that is the part of this feature that is kind of similar to Master Ability 2, which is that, regardless of the character, as long as you unlock this system, and even without doing the stats or anything, straight away you will get some passives, just like MA2. And then those passives you can increase to the maximum once you just do the system once to EX level 20. And by the way, it has been confirmed in a separate notices that this system will not come to everyone at the start. They already listed out all the units who will get it in 2 days from now, which I will of course be doing a stream as well, just to show you guys how it works and which are the units that like how far they will get after you get to EX level 20. So here we go. To reincarnate, you need 10 Mind Spears. So to unlock the system, you need 60 Mind Spears, and for MR units, the reincarnation is 10 Mind Spears. This is the rate for MR units. You will also need 20 pieces of the MR scrolls. I'm a bit worried about this part here, the later part. The Awakening Prism and you will need these two things as well. So remember, during the unlock phase, you needed one antler. With reincarnation, you don't need the antler, but you will need the scrolls. Right now, for the scrolls, this is the only item you can use for this phase. At the moment, they are not thinking of allowing other things to replace this slot. But maybe further down the line, maybe they'll come up with something to replace this item that you will need. But as of right now, their thinking is there is no plans to change the item here, meaning there are no plans to have any kind of item to replace scrolls for the reincarnation. So you definitely need scrolls for reincarnation. And I guess that is the bottleneck for how far you can reincarnate. So with reincarnation as well, you can use rainbow orbs instead of Mind Spears. And when you do that, the yellow stars become green stars and give you a starting bonus for all the stats. And in this time, there's +2 dexterity and +2 critical evasion. So there you go. The yellow stars become green stars, and they give you the starting stats, and all the yellow stuff goes missing, gets deleted. So for dexterity, 1 star is +2 for dexterity, whereas for critical evasion, 1 star gives you +1. And depending on the number of stars you get, then obviously the starting numbers are different. And the passives, when you reincarnate, the passives go back to their base level, along with the EX level count. So you go back to level 121. So basically, as Nagai-san just explained, as you might imagine, basically only the stars part will remain every single time you do a reincarnation. So if you just want to raise the green base stats for the unit, then obviously every single time before you hit the reincarnation button, all you have to do is try and hit the 3 yellow stars, and the moment you hit them, you can go ahead and reincarnate. But if let's say you are going to the last round of or in other words, if you're happy with the current base green stats, you can just go ahead and level up to level 20 without worrying about the yellow stars.
EX レベルを20まで上げていただくと、それぞれの射撃耐性だったり、さっき30まで上がってましたよね。はい、そういった形で、使うことができる。
So the passives will not change. They will always the numbers are always determined by your EX level, whereas the starting stats, right, will be changed by the yellow to green stars. So at level 121, you get the green passive increases. And I think basically he explained, basically it's how, I guess, you would imagine how the system would work. Basically, for the most part, if you just do the system one time, you can get, a bunch of yellow stats, and most importantly, you get the maximum passive. And then if you want to go further, you can, try and go for the green stars. So right now, Assaulto-san is just mentioning to Nakai-san, oh yeah, you forgot to mention about the Drain Killer part. Michael asked, so we need 37 times reincarnation to get max stars. I don't think they've actually shown us what is the maximum number of stars yet. But now they're about to talk about the Drain Killer replacement. So he's going to go into abilities. By the way, for the people who want to know, like, who are the units who are of the first phase, who are the first to get this system, I'll explain at the end of the stream. So here we go. This is Drain Killer. Is one of his moves. So Drain Killer, right? The improvement this time from Mont is that this move will now decrease the AP of the unit, of the target, and increase AP from Mont. So it will also drain AP. So that's the improved passive for MR Mont. The rest is already there in the current version of MR Mont in the game. So basically the system, right, when you unlock it, it will not just, give you additional resistances and stuff like that, but it will also give you improved abilities depending on the character. Now Bruno says it costs 670, Awakening Prisms to 120 a unit. Now we need even more. Yeah, I'm quite concerned about that as well. So one question they're addressing now is, what if you would like to use a mix of a unit's Mind Spears as well as the Rainbow Mind Spears? Is it possible to do that? Like for, for the 10 Mind Spears required for reincarnation, can you go 5 and 5? And Nakai-san just confirmed that yes, you can do that. So even when unlocking the system, you don't have to use 60 Mind Spears of the unit. You can go a single, like one Mind Spear of the character and 59 Rainbow Mind Spears. That works as well.
EX レベル20にして、使っていただくのもありなのかな。ステータスが上がってる状態で置いておく。はい。スクロールに入ったら、はい。入ったら転生して。
So one case that Nakai-san has mentioned is, with this system, it's possible that you may want to, upon unlocking the system, you just want to go to EX level 20 and use the unit as it is first, and then after you get more scrolls and more mind space, then you decide to try your hand at reincarnation for the unit.
理解しましたっていうコメントも結構多かったですけど、はい、流れわかります。理解してありがとうございます。
So from what I'm understanding from the system, really, I think especially for competitive players, right, really the bottleneck is just the scrolls. If you can get more, you have to choose where you want to allocate your scrolls. Like, that is the most important thing. So even if you have a lot of extra mind space, like, that doesn't really help at all. Ultimately, you still need the scrolls. So right now he's explaining for other rarities. So for MR it was 60 mind space, but for UR it's 120. And then for reincarnation, for UR units it's 20 every single time you want to do a reincarnation. And for reincarnation, one of the questions that was submitted was, the further you reincarnate, does it mean that every single time you reincarnate, it will take more materials? And the answer to that is no. No matter how many times you choose to reincarnate for a unit, the required resources will stay the same. So the biggest difference between this system and the current EX job system to level 120 is that for the EX system, up to level 120, you will always need that unit's mind space, whereas for the Dream Enhancement system, from level 120 to 140, you can use Rainbow mind space instead of that unit's mind space. Reen asks, so can we use the neutral mind space for EXing or only for reincarnation? So they just answered this. You cannot use it for the regular EXing to level 120. You can only use it for reincarnation, which is from level 120 to level 140. Ghost says 300 prisms for each reincarnate. Ouch. Is it 300 prisms? It's less than that, right? I think, like, once you get to level 120, each reincarnate is like what? It's 15 just now they showed. Okay, and then now they're gonna talk about the rate. For converting UR mind space to the rainbow mind space for your units. Within the rainbow mind space, you can also convert MR rainbow mind space to UR rainbow mind space. So for the actual rates, they are still making final adjustments. So please let them do these final adjustments all the way up to the launch of the feature. So they're still fine tuning basically. But obviously, like I said, understands that a lot of people are concerned about this. So he understands that a lot of people are worried about this, but so please let them think about and adjust the rates a bit more, but it will be kind of similar to what is currently implemented in terms of, item exchange for other items. For now, the exact rates they apologize, but they have to, hold back until the release of the feature. So they're still basically deciding the exact amount. So basically, they only have 2 more days to decide the exact rates. I would like to think of that positively because if you remember for your Zazan in JP, they really screwed up the exchange rate and made it so that it's really expensive and almost impossible for most players to get it. So hopefully they are taking this time to consider things properly and giving us like proper good rates. So as for whether everyone is getting this system at once or not, Nagai-san just confirmed. So basically it will go up in batches just like with MA2.
あ、これは多分皆さん的にはあれですかね。その120が多いからっていうところですよね。おそらく。はい。
So Nagai-san says probably a lot of people think that, you know, there's
そういう皆さんも多分
too many units out there that
これはそうだな。
are at level 120.
こちらの無限強化に関しては、一つ、
But with the Dream Enhancement system,
実装しているか。
so as to why they are doing it this way in batches, right? It has to do with the reason why Dream Enhancement even came up as an idea. So they like to explain that to let people understand why it's done this way.
同じ思いなんですけれども、
And everyone in the operations team feels this way, which is that, you know, the reason why they wanted to implement Dream Enhancement as a system
言っていたんですけれども、これまでも言っていたんですが、皆さん本当にキャラクターを愛していただいていて、
is because they want to make it possible for, you know, players to. So one of the things about the game is that, you know, players enjoy taking their favorite character like Kitone and some other characters, right, and being able to, you know, maximizing their use of that unit.
それぞれの皆さんが、本当にコンセプトを持って、
So really, that's the concept behind Dream Enhancement in the first place.
じゃあ、我々的にも新規キャラクターが出ました。じゃあ、それを
But obviously, every single time when there are new units coming out, then it always creates this, you know, environment where the new characters are always better than the old characters, right?
それはこれまでマスターアビリティ2の実装だったり EX
So they've tried to sort of counter that by, you know, releasing things like Master Ability 2 to try and counter that kind of trend, to basically get the old characters become viable again.
これは、幻影戦争としての一つの大きな特徴だった。
So that's one of the, I guess, big feature for War of the Visions.
じゃあマスターアビリティ2もほぼ一緒。
But now that they are almost reached the end of Master Ability 2, like they've almost gone one full round for all the characters,
新しいレアリティ
so they need to.
だったりだとかを、今回コストブレイク、レアリティブレイク行いませんって。
So they need to come up with something to let people be able to make their old units viable again without cost breaking or rarity breaking.
になるとどうしてもやっぱり新しいレアリティおよびコストが上がるとこれまでのキャラクターよりは絶対に強くなってきます。
So obviously, if they were to give older units higher rarity or higher cost, then obviously those characters will be stronger, right? But they didn't want to do that.
これらのキャラクターを
So they wanted to come up with another way, some kind of mechanism to make the old units viable and useful again.
がまず大きな
So that is one of the key tenets, one of the key points they're trying to address with this system. And the other thing that they were trying to address with this system is the basically the trend that a lot of players have a lot of extra mind spears sitting around that they can't really do anything with. So that was the other thing they wanted to address with this system.
完全に貫突しているし、僕のね召喚結構消えながらいらっしゃるのでお迎えで
Will Tester says, bruh, they trolling. Some characters get crazy MA2 and others get crowns. Yeah. Ghost says totally, yeah. That's definitely true. But hopefully that means that maybe, hey, those characters with really lousy MA2, maybe they'll get some really busted stuff with the Dream Enhancement system.
いただいている方にその余っている始終をこうどう使うかの時に一番いいのってやっぱりその愛していただいているキャラクターがさらに強くなること。
So when it comes to coming up with a kind of system that will let players make use of their extra mind spears, they thought that really the best way to use it is to allow them to utilize all these extra mind spears towards the unit that they love the most. And that's how the idea of the Rainbow Mind Spears came into play. So Saruto-san is adding that, well, with this system, as you can see, with the reincarnation requiring mind space, so obviously if you have a lot, you can really spend them into making one unit really, really strong.
いうよりは絶対使うキャラクターをさらに強くすることに使うっていう楽しみもあると思うんですよ。そっちの方が、今の現戦争にも
Irvin says, time to use my Belos mind space.
大丈夫ですかね。はい。
そうまた1年目の最前線の活躍できるような、
So basically, this system makes it possible for even units that are released in the first year of the game to be viable, you know, on the front lines.
持っているまたね買いやすくなる。
はい。で、
Skyfire is doing some calculations already. 33 stars equals 759 HP for Mon.
実装僕がね、
Is that in the example that they gave from the screenshot previously?
じゃあそういうふうに育成を、
Because 33 stars is like 11, at least 11 reincarnations, right?
に対して、楽しんでいただきたい、そういう楽しさを、していただきたいということに対して、まあ、僕だったらじゃあ次何言うのっていくと、だったら一斉解放だろう、好きなキャラクターまだ来てないんだろうって、もうそれで言うと僕で言うと祈りなわけじゃないですか。で祈りまだ来てないよ。
So, you know,
ちょ
with
っと矛盾してないかっていうところも分かります。はい。なんですけど、これ、先ほども言ったように、各キャラクターにおいての特徴を生かすっていうキャラクター性をちょっと重要視したいなと思うのと、そのバランス的な、もう話とかも一体って調整するんです。
全部あるだし、確かに2体ってやってった方が、
はい。
いろんな調整もできるし、繰り込めますよね。
そうなんです。
so one of the reasons they can't release this all at once for each character is because, you know, there's like 100 something characters in the game, and they want to make the passive. They want to make the passives for Dream Enhancement customized and tailored for each unit. So that's the one of the reasons why they are not rolling this out to everything at once. And also because there are some units like Inori, who is I think Grace, I'm not sure her name. They have not yet received their Master Ability 2 yet. So it doesn't make sense that this thing comes out for them before Master Ability 2. So they still have to consider how they want to make the MA2, and then on top of that, then, you know, this Dream Enhancement comes into play.
いろんな、キャラクターたち無限強化できるように皆様にお届け
But with that said, for Dream Enhancement, the pace of release will be faster than the current pace for Master Ability 2.
おっしゃることもごもっともだと思います。好きなキャラクターだと今解放されていないキャラクターがいたらできないじゃないか。
So one of the complaints players have had is, well, you talk about all this system being something that will help players be able to utilize their favorite well-loved units, but then they don't even get access to this system yet, you know? So like, isn't that a bit of contradiction? So to that, Nagai-san said they will try their best to release the Dream Enhancement system to more units at a faster rate than previously for MA2.
ちょっと元もない話だったと思うんですよね。はい。っていう形なんですよ。まあ、僕も思ったので、多分ちょっと今まだコメントを読めてないんですけど、そういったお声も出るかなと思ったんで、はい、感じなんですけど、大丈夫ですかね。はい。
ちなみに、育成としては、
Corti says Amneris and Sephiroth are included in first batch of... Yeah, that's right. They already announced it already. That maybe if I'll just show it here since they're still talking about some other stuff. So the first batch of units include Sephiroth, Cloud, Tifa, Ares, and Barrett. This is from the collab, and then Amneris, Oberon, King Mont, Marjorie, Ode, Mont's father, Stel, the original Stel, and Mediana. And then for MR, it's MR Mont, MR Menasha, and SR Little Leela. So I'll go through the rest later after they're done explaining everything. But I think from the notices this time, that is the big piece of information. Everything else, I believe, they didn't really go too much in detail, which is why there is a tonight stream for them to explain in detail how all these things work.
はい、お待ちしております。はい。
すいません、よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, basically they, other than the information of what units are getting it, the notices didn't really cover much at all.
新面積の時にもちょっと同じ表現を使って、
By the way, for anyone is wondering, on day one, two evenings from now, basically almost 48 hours from now, when maintenance is over, I will definitely be going into, I think, do this system on Oberon.
場合があると思うんですよ。
Or no, actually, you know what? I'm pulling for Sephiroth, so I will probably be using it on Sephiroth. Because the presents that they gave us, right, include enough materials to do the system once for a single UR unit. So I'm probably going to,
いけないのか、
we'll see how much resources we have. Because Sephiroth, I probably need time to build to level 120. So I think I'm going to use it on Oberon first. Or maybe King Mont, because those units I actually still use a lot.
あの
And then I'll wait for the next batch of materials to do it for Sephiroth.
で、さらにそのキャラクターを、
Or I guess I could do it for Cloud. Probably need to do it for Cloud.
例えば回してみましたとか、あとは弊社とかハードクエストとかいろいろあるじゃないですか。はい、そこで今もうキャラクターは120までいったから、じゃあ弊社にはとりあえずもったいないから入れとこうとか、ハードクエストも毎日、とりあえず回しとこう。
So right now Nakai-san is talking about, you know, the
出てくるし、
query that some players have, like, you know, so what do they do after they have, like, you know, the maximum amount of maestries for the units that they use?
ここは本音です。
Like, you know, is there even still a point to put characters in barracks and do the hard quests?
ついていけない。
And, you know, with this system, then that's one way to sort of put all those extra spears into use.
ステータス見ていただいたと思うんですけど、転生じゃあ20使って転生しました。あったとしても、一回リセットでバッと戻って残る数値、あれも塵も積もれば、結構本当に変わってくる。
So, as we previously saw with the example given for MR Mont, although each level, each reincarnation doesn't really add that much, over time, if you are able to use up the scrolls for a single character, over time you can actually add up to a lot of extra stats for a single unit.
やっていただきたいと思います。
So their idea with this system is they want people to slowly over time build up, you know, units gradually instead of getting a. So first of all, everybody gets a power boost at the beginning with the passives, and after that you can slowly add stats to them.
めちゃめちゃ
And that's partially why they are adding, you know, the units like Sephiroth to the first round of the units to be released with this.
そのために、無限の指示だったりもあるので、それもゆっくりして
But the whole idea behind the system is meant as a gradual growth system for, you know, your favorite units, whether they be old or new units.
環境で、上位層の皆さんも多分分かって
And the reason why they implemented some of the new units is because, you know, they feel that a lot of people would want to spend those resources to gradually grow those newer units.
いただけたらいいかなと。で、無限強化を解放されると、確かにめちゃめちゃいいステータスがつきます、付与効果で。はい。なんですけれども、それは自身のお好きなキャラクター。
So first of all, the most important thing with this system, the biggest takeaway is when your favorite units get the system, the first thing to do is just to unlock it to get access to the passives and get it to level 20, EX level 20, so that the passive is at the maximum for that unit and you can just use it as it is. You don't really have to do the reincarnation at all.
で、ゆっくり育成をしていただく形。皆さんが
And for people who can't do that, then, you know, well, first of all, it's not something you have to rush, right? It's something you can do over time.
が全部終わるまではもちろんそのキャラクターでしか使えないので、そのキャラクターで使っていただきたいんですけれども、 EX 化まで終わっていて、指示が余ったよっていう方がいらっしゃったら、
For people who can't use the system right at the beginning, it's something that you can grow towards. So basically, you should just focus on your level 120 units first, get your units to level 120, and gradually build up all the extra resources you need to do the dream enhancement system for the units that you use the most. So that is kind of the concept behind the dream enhancement system for them.
好きなキャラクターでセフィロス好きなんだけれどもっていう部分で、じゃあこのタイミングで実装しなかったら、じゃあ逆に
So, going back to the topic of why Sephiroth is included in the first batch of units.
先行して
So the reason is they want to release it, in advance for Sephiroth, because if they don't do it now, a lot of people will kind of complain and wish that, oh, I wish I could use this system with Sephiroth right away. So that's the rationale behind why they're making Sephiroth and a bunch of other units usable as part of the first batch of units that will receive Dream Enhancement.
はい、
無限強化開放して、ちょっとジョブ後に素材少し使って、付与効果上げるぐらいまではやってみようかな。
はい、ぜひ触ってみてください。はい、お願いします。
So Asalto-san says that he thinks it will be quite interesting when people find out what are the different, added passives from the system for all the different units. And Nakai-san said, yeah, definitely he hopes that the players will try it out and try and theorize like which units are really good with the system.
素材の入手ゲーム
So now they have a question from the players about, well then what about, the materials that we need for this system? Like what is the pace and, how often will we be able to get these materials?
はい、
うち製の、素材の入手ゲーム入手難易度的にはどんな感じなのかな。
Like what is the system, what is the pace at which we'll get these materials basically?
2つあったと思います。スクロールとアント
So Nakai-san is getting into it. It's different from two things, for antlers and for the scrolls.
この間のね、生放送だったりだとかに配るお話はさせていただいたと思うんですけれども、こちらが、生放送の報酬の他に、ログインボーナスとか、あとは、召喚のおまけとか、ショ
Oh,
ップだったり、
wow.
そういったところで、手に入れていただける予定です。
So first of all, from login bonus, they announced previously already we can get it from login bonuses and also from presents from the operations team. On top of that, we will be able to get it in shops and also through summons.
メダルの交換に関してはラインナップが決定しているじゃないですか、11月に。あれ1ヶ月1回更新。
And we will also be able to exchange for them in medal shop.
フレンドだったり、
From friend medal shop, guild medal shop,
に
etc.
関しては、12月の更新からは、フレンドメダル
From December onwards. From December onwards, we will be able to exchange for them in the medal shops.
あ、スクロールのみです。はい。
Oh, only the scrolls will be
あんま使わないんですよ。
only the scrolls will be exchangeable from the item from the medal shop. As for antlers, because you don't actually need that many of them, the distribution patterns for antlers will be more restricted.
アントラとかは、まずログボだったり、チャレンジ
Antlers you can get from login bonuses, challenge missions, from the shops.
とかで、
So those are the three main ways.
ゲットしていただける。他に、例えば、ね、ミスったわって誰かがツイッター上げてましたけれども、毎日購入ボーナスの中に入っていたりだとか、そういった形も、考えています。そこは
Apparently, there will be purchase bonuses that grant you antlers as
これ
well.
までと同様流動的にやっていきたいなっていうふうには思ってはいるので、随時お知らせ等々
I guess, but that I'm not sure if we meant to say that there was a mistake about it being grantable in part of the daily bonuses. But I guess we will be able to check 2 days from now.
解散
But basically, for antlers, the main ways to get them will be from login bonuses, from shops, and I think there was one more way.
さんから言っておきましょうか。聞いといたんで、はい、バレットって言ってました。
バレットから行くんですか。
バレットから行くって言ってました。今回のそのバレットの強化で一番ワクワクしてるのは彼だと思ってます。
Wait, they're talking about
あ、いや、
they're talking about Barrett now.
いろいろあるじゃないですか。はい。
So Barrett actually right now in the JP version is kind of, a lot stronger than we imagined after the buff.
祈り、はい、を楽しみに。アサルトさんはやっぱり来た。
So even Fujita-san, the director of the game himself, is quite is quite excited to see what players come up with after the Dream Enhancement system has been unlocked with Barrett. Skyfire says basically Antlers will be the new Broadstone and Scrolls will be the new Blossoms. Yeah, you can think of it that way. Except Scrolls will probably be easier to get a hold of. I'm not too sure, but because you need like 20 at once, right?
はいまあ、という形ではありますので、はいまあ、なんでそうですね、まあ、ちょっとサイドにはなりますけれども、くれぐれもなんだろう転生までの流れ、今日ご紹介させていただいたんですけども、やらなくちゃいけないという義務感は持たないでいただきたい。本当に心の底からお願いをしたい感じです。無限強化のまず解放から、強化で EX20 レベルですねは付与効果が出て、いたりだとかするので、まあ、そこもね120個だったりとか必要ではあるので、なので、ハードルが高いよっていう方もいらっしゃるかもしれないんですけれども、ぜひ、キャラクターを強くしたいよっていうところ。
So today they explain like the procedure, for how to use the Dream Enhancement. But and Nagai-san here understands that it definitely requires some resources. Like especially for UR units, you need 120 mind spears to unlock the system. But the presence that you're getting for the unit will be quite strong. So he's really hoping that people will give it a chance, try it and see how much better their units get. So obviously he understands that there are some players who are worried about the system, but the thing is the game has been in operations for 3 years already, and so he thinks that there will actually be a lot more players who are able to use this feature more than you would think, and that's why this system exists for people with all the extra mind spears or who want to be able to further take their favorite units to the next power level. That's the kind of point of this game. But for the people, especially like the newer players who cannot actually who do not actually have the resources yet to do Dream Enhancement, it's okay. It's totally okay if they ignore it for now and just gradually build up their resources, focus on building up their level 120 units, and then once they get there, then start worrying about the Dream Enhancement. So really, this system is meant for the top, like really the players at the sort of the top of the pyramid, like the people who are at the end game scenario kind of situation. It's really meant for those players to get more out of their units. But if you are but really there is no need to like straight away rush into this system. Like there is no need at all. Like for new players especially, you don't really need to feel obliged to jump into doing Dream Enhancement right away or spend to be able to get there yourself. You can just do it slowly over time, build up the resources and get there eventually. So that's something producer Nagai-san want to explain. It is a game. After all, World of Visions is a game. So the whole point is to make it fun for for players and for everyone. So that's why this thing exists for the people at the top of the pyramid to be able to try out different kinds of strategies. So Nagai-san says that just like with Asaruto-san and other high-level players, there are really not that few. There are really quite a lot of players who will be able to straight away use the system and straight away realize that there's some interesting things that will present to the game. So please try them out, and then Asaruto says that after trying out, if there's any feedback, then of course you can still convey the feedback to the operations team, and then it's something that can be changed as we further go down the line as well. So Asaruto-san is like praying to Nagai-san, please make this system available for Kitone and Resnick as soon as possible, because he really wants to try it out for Kitone and Resnick. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have like their favorite units who they hope that they can as soon as possible get the Dream Enhancement feature for as well.
けるとは思ってはいるので、はい、
So another thing about this feature is that it will allow players to customize their favorite units.
触ってみていただけると嬉しいです。はい。
So in any case, he definitely hopes that people will try it out for themselves first, and then after that, see what kind of things they can, do with the new system.
あー
But especially,
そうですね。はい。
入れ歯もあるとは
あ、そうです。そうです。
so I think we're just about coming to the end of the program because Guild Battle in JP has just started as of 9 minutes ago.
ちょっと急なね、告知および、放送で、しかも、
After the stream has ended, I'll go and take a look at the notices
含めてちょっと
again to see if I've missed anything. But Nagai-san is saying now that definitely
ご視聴もありがとうございます。
he hopes that, after giving a try, if there are any comments, he does definitely want to hear them. And then, the game is almost at its third anniversary.
変わらず、そして、
As per usual, they want to prepare a lot of things that will make the game fun for everyone.
よろしくお願いいたします。
So he's hoping for everyone's support as well from here on out as well.
は
はい。
1が並んで
あ、ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って。じゃあそう、事前に集めた質問どこ行ったんですかっていうコメントがあったんですけど、実はほぼ今のその無限強化のフローで、そう締めようとしてる。なんかすみません。そう、せっかくね、質問集めたのに答えてないんじゃないのかっていう。
So before this broadcast, they actually got the Sultan to
答えられ
get a bunch of questions from players. And actually, just by explaining the flow earlier, they answered most of it already.
レベルの条件が140になるのか、得られる武力効果
So the one thing that I wanted to ask that I didn't have time to submit is how this will affect the mastery levels. Because once you reach level 140, then obviously your mastery level should increase, right? But then if you roll it back to level 120, does that mean your mastery level goes down? But I unfortunately I was stuck with something. I wasn't able to submit the question.
フローで、
But I guess we'll find out in like 2 days' time.
に関してはそのすべて質問を参考に作らせていただきましたので、ほぼ答えさせていただき、まあ一部ね、ちょっと関係ない質問とかもあったりとかしたんで、そこに関してはお答えはしていない形ではありますけども、はい、なので皆さんのご質問ありがとうございます。本当にたくさんね、はい、そのおかげでどういうふうに説明する流れ
So Nagai-san wanted to thank the players for submitting their questions because it helped to guide, what they would need to explain in today's broadcast, basically. And it seems like most of it has to do with, why they are implementing it this way, what resources are required, and,
ありがとうございます。
so that's pretty much it for the broadcast this time. The two of them would like to thank everyone for viewing the broadcast. Hopefully they have answered most of everyone's questions. And please look forward to the third anniversary. Okay. So I'm just gonna take a look at the in-game notices. I think they pretty much talked about everything that is announced here already. So as a quick recap, this Mind Spear thing is 60 required for activation for MR units, but for UR it's 120. And then Reincarnation, I think they didn't show the Reincarnation screenshot, or maybe they did. I think they didn't show, they only showed it during the broadcast. So when you EX level, increase the EX level, it requires statues and EXP cubes and JP points. And then, oh, they showed it over here, okay. So it's 10 for MR units, but 20 for UR units. And then the scrolls will be 20 across the board. But obviously for UR units, you will need UR scrolls. And then each time is 15 of each of these awakening stuff. So someone said earlier, like, you need something like 300. So does that mean, was that person looking at, like, if you reincarnate like 20 times? Because one time it's actually not that much, right? And then as explained here, yellow stars become green stars. So if you are looking for the base stats, all you have to do is EX level until you get the 3 yellow stars, and then you can start reincarnating. Let's see. Okay, and it's explained here, once you reach to EX level 20, definitely 100% you will receive all 3 yellow stars. So if you get lucky, you can get it earlier than EX level 20, but if you go all the way to EX level 20, yeah, if you go all the way in EX level 20, you will definitely get 3 yellow stars no matter what. Oh, so the it says here that, you know, levels above level 120 will not contribute towards mastery levels or any kind of such missions that require level activation. So this thing doesn't impact mastery levels at all. That's interesting. Okay, so over here it says passes, stars, and then okay, this is exactly as they explained it. And then this is with regards to reincarnation, is exactly the way that they explained it earlier. So now for the rates, for anyone who joined the stream late, they've said that they will need to fine-tune the exchange rate all the way until, you know, the 3rd anniversary when the feature comes out. So at this point, they can't talk about it yet, but we will find out in 2 days' time, which I guess is not really, you know, something that we can be quite happy about, I suppose. But you've said before that the exchange rate will be fewer than 10:1, but higher than 2:1. Okay. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward, actually. Once they actually explain the details and show us how you're meant to do the system. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to take a look at the chat. Does anyone have any questions that, you know, was not really covered on the stream that we haven't really talked about? Shirayuki asks, what would they even do when a level 140 Sephiroth makes everyone obsolete? Do they even think about making a stat like that? Well, I'm sure that, you know, before they release Sephiroth, I'm sure they've taken into consideration what a max level 140 Sephiroth is supposed to play like. So I think they have definitely considered the balance for all these characters at level 140 before even releasing it. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Let's see what else. Go says, I always try to remember that I will be playing the game for a long time. I started around launch and still have no idea of quitting. Yeah, so this dream enhancement / reincarnation system is really meant for that as well. It's to allow, you know, players to play the game for a longer time still. Like, if you have any units that you really enjoy playing with, this system is going to allow you to really build up the stats for that unit. So if you think of it, a lot of the current characters in the game, right, they're not viable in the game because of their stats. They are too weak as a unit to even be able to play it on front, you know, in the top level PvP scenario. So there is a possibility that with this system, you will be able to build up your base stats, right, to a level where even the weakest units in the game, like if let's say you really like Mashiri, the base version of UR Mashiri, right, you could potentially one day make her into a powerhouse. So that is part of the idea, you know, with the new system. And of course, I don't think most people will do that. But, you know, for some people who, let's say, for example, if you want to use Ketone is really good as a unit, but she's like lacking in stats and stuff like that, right? You could potentially use the system to increase her evasion stats and all that, and make her even better than, make her like a customized version of Ketone that most people wouldn't have access to. Okay, let's see what else is said over here. Ryan says it's an additional stat outside the base, so the multiplier won't be applicable. Correct. They explained earlier that the additional stats will not be treated as base stats, but as part of the total stats. And Scotia Sweetie says, so the first 120 or 121 levels impact mastery? Only the first 120 levels. The 121st will not impact mastery. And then Shiragi says, with how they treated fire, now I'm actually starting to worry. I don't think you have that much to worry about fire. With the new Stern coming out in the future, with, I mean, they already said before that, what is his name? Reagan from FFB will be making his way to the game, even though at this point it's still they're still at, the sketch portion of the design, meaning they haven't even thought about how to make the unit yet. It's still at a really early phase, but I'm sure moving forward there's going to be a lot of really good fire units, and for sure the meta is going to change towards that. It's always been this kind of pattern. Like once they've established a meta, a few months down the line they will introduce the next element to try and counter it. So like for example with Sephiroth is really designed as from a player's perspective, Sephiroth looks like their intention with Sephiroth is to hard counter the light evasion meta, because even right now I can still tell you I'm playing in the highest level of guild battles in JP, and we were most recently at rank number 3. We dropped to rank number 6 now, but we most recently lost to a guild with running 30 light evasion teams. So even right now, light evasion in JP is still a very big threat that can even be used at high level guild battles. So the thing is, light evasion has been around in JP since April. It's been more than 7 months already. So obviously, there's a lot of things they've tried to release that are supposed to help us better counter the light evade meta, like things like better accuracy. Alexandrite ring +6 is not doing enough to counter that meta. So that's why now we're finally getting Sephiroth, which is a dark unit, a cost 100 dark unit with a limit burst that straight away just deals with light evade right away. And I'm thinking that after most people have that unit, most people pull and build for that unit, I'm thinking that at the highest levels of PvP, light evasion is probably not going to be as relevant as before. GGGG says, hi, your main account is global or JP? My main account is global. I play in the number 1 guild in global, Visipur. So my main is there. And then JP is kind of like, at first, it was just me experimenting with things. And then at some point I realized I actually have most of the better units. So I decided to join a guild in JP. And then eventually I made my way to one of the higher, the top level guilds. And I've been JP. For the most part, I try to stay free to play. Although if there are like really good steals, then I spend a little on it if I think that it can help me catch up. But for the most part, with JP, for me, it's more like I'm trying to be as good as the other players are at in terms of the JP high level guild battle play. But really, I'm not nearly. I'm like struggling to hang on, because a lot of times with the amount of visual you get in JP, it's not enough to pull for a lot of units. So I really have to like strategize in terms of what unit I'm pulling for. Whereas in global it's really easy, because even for vision cards, right, you get a bunch of free stuff when you pull for a vision card that JP doesn't even get. So with global, I have access to a lot of things. With JP, I don't. Ryan asks. Ryan says, light account is looming, light evade. Carlos asks, unrelated question, how did you learn Japanese? What way would you recommend? I learned it a long time ago because of my interest in games. And it's really hard to say. Like, I guess if you want to learn Japanese, you should definitely do at least a beginner's course to understand the way of learning Japanese. And then after that, really a lot of improving is really reading a lot of books and having access to a lot of Japanese materials. And that's something I did for like over 10 years. So that's why I'm like fluent. It's not something that happened overnight. I studied Japanese for like over 10 years, you guys. It's not, yeah, it's not something that, is the kind of answer that I think you were expecting for. But basically, I didn't do it, particularly different from other people. For the most part, you have to go to lessons, and then at some point, self-learning becomes better than going to lessons. And that's when you have to, really read a bunch of textbooks, have access or exposure to a bunch of Japanese materials. Okay, so I think that's all the questions I saw at the end of the stream. Mikhail says, yeah, Ketone will become top tier like Scarhawk with stat upgrade. Yeah, there's a very high possibility she can be. And then I think that's pretty much it, right? I didn't miss any other big questions. Alright, so yeah, I guess, that will be it for this stream this time. If you guys are interested, about 2 days from now, 2 days and 3.5 hours from now, wait, did I get that correct? 2 days and 2.5 hours from this time, I will be streaming WOTV JP because that's when the maintenance for 3rd anniversary ends, and we can finally log in for the 3rd anniversary content. I will be pulling for Sephiroth right away because honestly, I mean, he's looking at like a no-brainer, and then I will basically use the materials for this reincarnation system. I will use them towards one of the UR units announced here. So probably Cloud, but I haven't decided yet. It's either Cloud or Oberon. I'll have to discuss with my guild mates as well to see if there's a particular unit they want me to unlock the feature for. Alright, so yeah, 2 days from now, hope you guys will, check out the stream. I'll later on, when after dinner, I think I will set up like a scheduled live stream so you guys can see exactly what time I will go live. And if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing to it. And then once you do, on your YouTube home screen, you should be able to see the scheduled live stream once I've gone ahead and made it. Ryan says, hyped for Sephiroth and Yuffie. The reincarnation system is just like an additional layer. Skyfire says, wait to see what skill get upgraded. Maybe Barrett is the way. Well, I don't have Barrett on my account, so maybe there's a possibility Barrett will be really good, but unfortunately, I just, it's impossible for me. I didn't even pull for him. Alright, so thanks everyone for staying, for staying up or, checking out the stream, even though there's a lot of things you could possibly do with your time. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I